In every country on earth, people wake up, go to work, earn a salary, and assume that the value of their money is real. They assume their savings are safe. They assume the economy is natural. They assume taxes are normal. But none of these things are natural laws. They were designed. And in the year 1913, two documents were signed that quietly reshaped the entire financial future of the modern world. Yet almost nobody today has ever read them. One was sold as stability, the other as fairness. But together, they build a machine that extracts value, creates invisible debt, and channels wealth upwards generation after generation. And the strangest part, this machine still operates today, silently, efficiently, and almost nobody questions it. Tonight, we're going to break it down. Because if you've ever wondered why every generation gets poorer, not richer, why debts rise even when productivity increases, why inflation never stops, why governments always need more money, why the rich get richer across every financial crisis, then the explanation begins with two signatures in the year 1913. This is the story of the documents that quietly enslaved wealth for over a century. Before 1913, the world was messy, but money behaved in ways you could actually understand. Most countries still connected their currency to gold. A dollar represented something real. Inflation barely existed. Savings held value. The U.S. government had no permanent central bank. Taxes were minimal. Ordinary citizens kept most of what they earned. But underneath this simple surface, chaos brewed. Banks were unstable. Trust in the financial system rose and collapsed in unpredictable cycles. Panics, the old version of recessions, kept destroying fortunes. The wealthy elite of the era, industrialists, bankers, financiers, hated instability. Not because they wanted fairness, but because stability meant predictable profit. And in the early 1900s, a powerful group of bankers, senators, and business leaders began quietly discussing a new idea. A solution, a system, a way to make the economy more manageable. But to achieve it, they needed two massive shifts. One, control over how money is created. Two, a stable stream of revenue to back government borrowing. Both would require changing the very definition of money itself. And so, under the surface of history, a plan began to form. The secret origins, the meeting at Jekyll Island. The year was 1910. A private train left New York City in the dead of night, shades drawn, identities hidden. On board were some of the most powerful men in American finance. Senator Nelson Aldrich, a partner from J.P. Morgan, executives from National City Bank, and representatives of what would later become the Federal Reserve's first leadership. They traveled to a private island off the coast of Georgia, Jekyll Island, where they locked themselves inside a luxurious club. For 9 days, they drafted a document that would change the world. This document would evolve into the Federal Reserve Act. The goal, to create a central bank, but not one owned by the government. A system that appeared public, but was controlled by private banking interests. This institution would have extraordinary powers. It could create money. It could control interest rates. It could rescue banks during panics. And it could expand government spending through debt. But there was a problem. The public didn't want a new central bank. They feared elite control. They feared manipulation. They feared exactly what this act would create, so the men at Jekyll Island needed a plan. They disguised the proposal as a public good, forced language that hid its private influence, and renamed it the Federal Reserve System, a title so friendly sounding that almost nobody would question it. The stage was set, but the machine wasn't complete yet. They needed one more piece. A way to guarantee that the government, and by extension, the central bank, would have a constant supply of money. That missing piece would arrive in the exact same year. The second document, the birth of income tax. For most of American history, the government didn't have the money it has today. People kept their wages. The government stayed small, and deficits were limited. But in 1913, the 16th Amendment was ratified. For the first time in U.S. history, the federal government gained permanent legal authority to collect income tax. It was sold as a tax only for the rich, just 1% at first. But like every financial tool in history, once introduced, it never stopped expanding. With this new revenue source, something fundamentally changed. The government could now borrow money on a scale never seen before because taxes guaranteed repayment. And the newly created Federal Reserve could lend unlimited money to the government by simply expanding the money supply. In other words, the Fed could create money from nothing. The government could tax the population to pay it back. Banks could profit from issuing the debt. A financial triangle was born, a triangle that still rules the modern world. The rise. How the machine started operating once the Federal Reserve Act and the income tax system were in place, everything changed slowly at first, then rapidly. Step 1. The Fed prints money. Not literally with printers, but digitally through credit creation. Step 2. The government borrows it. Government debt begins to rise. Wars become easier to fund. Projects become larger. Step 3. Taxes guarantee repayment. You work. Your salary is taxed. Those taxes pay interest on debt that was created out of thin air. Step 4. Inflation shifts wealth upward. Every new dollar created reduces the value of the dollars already saved by citizens. This means savings slowly die. Wages lose purchasing power. Assets owned by the wealthy increase in price. The poor stay poor. The middle class drifts downward. The wealthy accumulate more power in every crisis. A beautifully engineered system if you benefit from it. A silent trap if you don't. And decade by decade, the system became more powerful. Breaking points, wars, crises, and loops. World War I. The first test of the new 1913 system. The U.S. borrowed massive sums. The Fed expanded money supply. Income tax collections skyrocketed. The war ended, but the debt didn't. The Great Depression. Banks collapsed. The financial elite pushed for even more centralization. In 1933, the U.S. government confiscated private gold. The link between money and gold weakened. World War II. Another explosion of debt. Taxes rose to historic levels. Money creation hit record highs. 1971, the final break. President Nixon ended the gold standard entirely. From that moment forward, money was not backed by anything. Only belief, only confidence, only the ability of a government to tax its population. The machine was complete. Fallout, the hidden costs of 1913. Once money detached from anything real, 3 long-term consequences began eating away at generational wealth. Inflation beaucoup permanent. Every decade since 1913, the dollar has lost value. $1 in 1913 is worth about 3 cents today. Generations didn't just lose money. They lost purchasing power, time, and opportunity. 2. Debt becomes infinite. Because the Fed can always create more money, governments can always borrow more. Today, U.S. national debt is over $34 trillion. In 1913, almost zero. 3. Wealth concentration intensifies. The same institutions that helped design the system benefited the most. Banks grew. Financial families grew. Asset holders grew. Everyone else fought to keep up with prices that rise faster than wages. It wasn't an accident. It was a consequence of failed fixes. Attempts to escape the machine. Throughout history, politicians tried to fix the system. They promised to reduce deficits, to end inflation, to stop bailouts, to cut taxes, to regulate banks. But none of it worked. Why? Because the machine built in 1913 made those problems structural, not political. You cannot fix a system by addressing symptoms when the design itself guarantees those symptoms. As long as money is created as debt, debt is repaid through taxes, and inflation benefits the wealthy, the system remains intact. Politicians come and go. Presidents change. Policies shuffle around, but the machine stays. Modern parallels, the same patterns today. If the system worked differently today, maybe we could say this was just history. But the same patterns repeat. 1. Inflation never stops. From groceries to housing to healthcare, every decade brings higher prices. Not because of greedy companies, but because the money supply always expands. 2. The rich always win crises. 2008. Banks crash, banks get bailed out. 2020. Markets fall, central banks inject trillions, asset prices explode. 2023 to 2025. Inflation rises, billionaires gain wealth, workers lose purchasing power. Why? Because the machine rewards asset ownership and punishes cash, saving, and wage earning. 3. Taxes increase, but services decline. Citizens pay more. Governments spend more. Debt rises faster than taxes can catch up. 4. The middle class shrinks. For the first time in modern history, younger generations expect to be poorer than their parents. That is not an accident. That is the natural outcome of a system engineered to extract value upward. 5. Money printing is no longer a secret. In recent crises, governments openly printed trillions in weeks. The illusion is cracking. People are finally asking questions. And it all leads back to two documents from the year 1913. Final message: what it means for you. Now that you understand the system, the question becomes, what can an individual do? You can't stop central banks. You can't change monetary laws. You can't end inflation. But you can protect yourself. You can stop playing the game the machine wants you to play and start playing the game the wealthy play. 3 clear takeaways. Takeaway number 1: cash is not wealth. It loses value every year. Holding cash long-term means guaranteed loss. Takeaway number 2: assets are the real shield. Inflation punishes workers but rewards owners. Whether it's stocks, land, businesses, or digital assets, ownership matters. Takeaway number 3: the system won't change. Waiting for governments to fix the system is like waiting for a casino to rig games against itself. It will never happen. If you don't adapt, the machine wins. Final warning: if today feels financially harder than the past, if it feels like prices rise but salaries don't, if it feels like every crisis makes the powerful even more powerful, it's because the system was built that way. Not in secret, not overnight, but with 2 signatures in the year 1913. The machine that quietly enslaved generational wealth is still running, and it will keep running unless you learn how to step outside of it. Call TO action. Natural, not pushy. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, share it with someone who needs to understand why the world feels the way it does. And if you want deeper stories about money power and the systems that shape our lives, make sure to subscribe, because this is only the beginning.